Now, you may have noticed there was one story that got an awful lot of run in the media today. Now, I'm no fan of Liz Truss, and she's not going to stay long as the British Prime Minister. But there was one story that was one poll that got people very excited.
6 weeks after voting Liz Truss in as the leader of the Conservative Party, the majority of the Tory members want Liz Truss to resign now.
Andy, another remarkable day.
Make no mistake, this is still a Prime Minister fighting for her political life.
So she's going to have to somehow stamp her authority and show her backbenchers that she's in charge. They're in a mutinous mood.
Now, today's talking point came out of this opinion poll done by YouGov, who generally is pretty good with its polling, but this really is not quite what it seems. Most Tory members say Liz Truss should resign. All right, that's enough. Go off. Talk about it all day, every day. Get analysis. Find an MP who agrees, disagrees, all the rest of it, right? Well, I actually went and thought, I don't know about this poll. Not because I'm a fan of Liz Truss. I'm not. She's cooked. But according to the House of Commons, we went and had a look at this today, there are 172,000 people in the UK who are actually members of the Conservative Party. So was this poll done with 172,000 or 100,000 or 50,000 or 20,000 or 10,000 or 5,000 or 1,000? No. This was a poll of 530 people. So what, 270 didn't agree that Liz Truss should remain? That's hardly 172,000 people. Now, again, I repeat, I'm not a fan of Liz Truss. I think she's going to be cooked, no question about it whatsoever. But there's a narrative here, which is she's done, so therefore we've got to find every and any piece of evidence that's going to back it in. Calvin Robinson is a host on GB News. We'll talk about this and a bunch of other things. Now, again, Calvin, we're not coming out in support of Liz Truss here, but this was the entire day's news today. Half of all Tory members say she should go, but it was a poll of 500 of 172,000 people.
I'm not surprised because YouGov is who the media go to when they want a story to stick. There's a clear agenda going on here. They want Liz Truss gone. And when I say they, I mean the establishment, I mean the mainstream media, I mean the left of the Conservative Party. There is a big cohort of people that want her out of the way. We have to ask the question, why? I think she would have been fine if she'd have stuck to her guns and kept going with her mini budget, kept Kwasi Kwarteng, who was very much aligned with her. The moment she capitulated to the bullies and got rid of Kwasi, that was the end of her reign, to be honest. She is on her way out. However, who do we want to replace her? That's the problem.
Well, you also see this scenario where, when I sit around and I sort of watch a few hours of this breaking news coverage, it almost has a momentum of its own because, remember, one of the reasons why she had to go was because the pound collapsed. Well, it's back to where it was before the mini-budget. OK, they got rid of a bunch of unpopular things, but the single biggest reason that she was borrowing money the government didn't have was to do what everyone wanted her to do, which was to do something about energy costs. Now, that's going to get pared back till April, but that was actually what the bulk of the money was for. It wasn't for tax cuts, but it was made out as if it was only for tax cuts and only for sort of the monocle wearers of Mayfair.
This has absolutely nothing to do with economics. Liz Truss is a free marketeer. She would have freed up the markets. The markets did not want to be freed. Did you notice that? The markets rebelled against her. The markets and the global elite were not happy with a free marketeer in number 10. So again, we have to ask the question why. They deposed Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister. They got rid of Boris Johnson. They say over cake and Partygate or whatever, it's bigger than that. They did not want Boris Johnson as the Prime Minister. So then the party asked the Conservative Party members to decide who they would want as the next leader. The members, by a clear majority, wanted Kemi Badenoch to be the next Prime Minister. The parliamentary party said, no, you don't get to choose Kemi Badenoch. You don't get to choose Suella Braverman. You don't get to choose an actual Conservative. Your choice is between Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak. So the members went, OK, we'll have Liz Truss then, because she's the least worst option. And then the parliamentary party were like, no, we wanted Rishi Sunak. And so they're doing everything they can to squeeze Liz Truss out. They've installed Jeremy Hunt. And now we're hearing that Jeremy Hunt, as the Chancellor, is orchestrating a reshuffle, a cabinet reshuffle. That's the Prime Minister's role. That's not the Chancellor of the Exchequer's role. He is in all but name the new Prime Minister, and he is part of the establishment, much like his friend Rishi Sunak. And it looks to me like they're still trying to squeeze out Liz Truss and replace her with Rishi. If you look at Jeremy Hunt's advisors, he's brought in this Economic Advisory Council around him. BlackRock are running the UK government right now. Yes, the World Economic Forum. Yes, the global elite. They've got their way. They've got their man in, even though they didn't manage to get the Prime Minister. They've got the Chancellor in. And I think Liz Truss's position is unsustainable. I don't think she can stay there much longer, because the Chancellor has undone all of her mini budget and actually gone in the other direction, where she would cut taxes. He's not just said we're not going to cut them, he's going to increase them. It's pretty much a socialist budget at this point. It's horrendous. But I don't see how she can remain as leader when all of her work is being undone and everything's being done in the opposite of what she would have done. So it's a matter of time now. They got rid of Boris Johnson. They're going to get rid of Liz Truss. But of course, if you return to the members and the British people, they would have preferred Boris Johnson on the ballot paper instead of Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak, and they still prefer Boris Johnson on the ballot paper today. Even this YouGov poll itself, as weighted as it is, shows that Boris Johnson is the clear favourite for Prime Minister.
Well, and also, I mean, this is the thing. The absolute reality of 2019 was, get Brexit done, you voted for it, I'm going to do it. And you saw all the different tactics before the 2019 election about delaying that, dragging that out for as long as possible. Sir Keir Starmer, who will eventually be the Prime Minister, presumably at a general election in 2 years, he was sort of waxing and waning where Labor was here. But I mean, it is worth pausing here just to say, regardless of whether you like or dislike these people, what you are seeing here is the system, as it's called in America, the deep state, finding a way to always get what they want. And if you even slightly buckle, what they will do is they will start the hairs running, and because it is always more exciting a story to talk about implosion, they search for endless evidence of it, and even when you reverse the implosion, you still have to go because of the implosion, because you posed a threat to the establishment.
Absolutely that. The establishment is running amok. The global elite are running amok, getting their own way. And without being a conspiracy theorist, we've got people like Klaus Schwab on record saying we have infiltrated all the cabinets around the world. And we know that they are funded by BlackRock, the biggest bank in the world. And now we have bankers from BlackRock working directly in number 11 Downing Street with the Chancellor, who is in effect the new Prime Minister. I don't know how people cannot see what's going on here. We need to reclaim democracy in some way. If the members of the Conservative Party voted Liz Truss as their leader, she is therefore the leader of the Conservative Party. No one else can come in and say, actually, we need to get rid of her, we need to replace her. And if they want to do that, then they need to open it up to a bigger proportion of democracy. Forget the party, take it to the British people. Let's have a general election. If they want a new Prime Minister, let's do things properly. They cannot just crown someone. They cannot just install someone that is in line with their way of thinking and their political agenda. It's atrocious what's happening to Western democracy.
Calvert is a fair income free thinker, and I'm pleased that we had a chance to have a chat to him. Share this video if you agree with us, because I have a feeling there may be some who may use to shadow ban it. Thank you, great man.
God bless.